Hello everyone and welcome to this latest episode of the Gamepodular Unfocused podcast. I am your host Scott, and with me as always is Hilkra and Seskra. How are you both on this fine day?
Doing great.
Amazing. Incredible. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I'm free of back pain for the first time in a couple of days. I had to...
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm in my 30s, so it just sort of happens sometimes, you know? But I did have to, like, replace some of my bed parts earlier this week, and so that was a lot of just, well, gotta lie on the floor and position yourself in a weird way to make sure this screw is attached correctly, and also just, lifting heavy wooden planks up and down, not stairs, we took the elevator, but we had to take some of it to the dump, and it was a whole thing, and I'm glad it's over and my bed is stable and not actively falling apart.
I have no idea what this is like. Please relay your experience to me in excruciating detail.
But that's good. Your back's all starting to heal back up.
Yeah,
it's never fun.
Yeah, I am back pain free for the first time since, what was it, Thursday? Yeah, Thursday, because we fixed it on a Wednesday, and then I didn't feel it until I woke up the next day. Yeah. For context for people listening at home, we're recording this on a Sunday, so I had back pain for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 3 days straight, which is not fun.
No.
So you would not recommend?
No,
I mean, I would, it was worth the effort, obviously. It was worth the effort, obviously, but yeah, it was not fun at the time. How about you two? What's new in your day-to-day lives?
I mean, I've been honestly a little bit busy in terms of, like, I haven't played as many games as I figured I would, but that's kind of what happens when you get to know somebody. And yeah, like, I'm not going to get sappy about it, but you know who you are, and I love you.
Aw.
Aw, indeed.
Nothing. I always say this, but nothing really wild exciting for me myself. It was a couple of weeks ago, but we just had a national election in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting results.
Very exciting results.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, encouraging results.
Is that the opposition lost a lot more of their seats this time.
I still find it hilarious that, like, Australia and Canada both had not just the opposition lose, but the leader of the opposition specifically lose his seat within, like, a week of each other.
Yeah.
I will say, with the opposition leader for Australia, Peter Dutton, his seat has always been a bit marginal. So he's most of his political career, it's always somewhat been on a knife edge, just with how the preferences voting works in Australia. But this time, it was no contest, basically. Labor got in with quite a bit of a margin. So,
yeah, referee didn't even make a 3 count there. Just be like, nope, that's a knockout. Ding, ding, ding. Ring the bell.
We try not to swear on Gamepodular podcasts, and that is difficult to do when talking about Australian politics because you want to get sort of into the spirit of Australia, But glad he's gone. Screw that guy.
He was not liked.
Big not a fan.
Yeah.
Ooh, what other thing occurred to me that I should probably mention on this podcast as well? I talked about it extensively on Unfocused, but in case there are different audiences, I also became an uncle.
Right, that too.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Uncle.
yeah, it's very exciting. They're very happy. I've gone to see him a couple of times now. It's been great. We get so many messages in the group chat every day. I'm not mad.
Isn't it wonderful?
Yeah. I'm not mad about the pictures. The pictures are great. I love to hear what's going on. I don't necessarily need everybody's take on every picture every day. But this is just part of the process, you know?
Yeah. And, it's an exciting start to your career as a professional bad influence.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, like, I do have these thoughts in my mind of, like, hypothetical social situations where, like, I meet someone new and I'm like, so they ask, like, oh, what do you do? What are some of your hobbies? What do you spend your time doing? And I have to do the, like, okay, I'm on a podcast, but I'm not like one of those weird white dudes on podcasts. You know? Like, I don't listen to Andrew Tate or any of that garbage. I talk about video games, and I like to think I'm generally a cool person.
It's okay. Like, we're white people who are unemployed. We're allowed to have a gaming podcast. It's part of the social contract.
Yeah. But yeah, so in that way, I won't be a bad influence. But yes, given the opportunity, I'm absolutely going to spoil that little dude rotten. I gave him a really big,
cool uncle.
Yeah, I gave him a really good, big stuffed animal that is a combination of a bee and a Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's called a bee Rex. Mm-hmm. It's great. It's very soft. I also got one for myself.
Of course.
The one downside is I can't be the cool uncle with all the cool board games because they also have a lot of cool board games. But hey, I have way more video games than they do, so that'll be my niche.
I have a very important question about the stuffed animal.
Yeah.
If he ever throws it out of his crib, would that make it a B-Rexit?
No.
Boo.
Tish.
Yes, the life of an uncle will be new, scary, but rewarding. I know my nephews. I'm the favorite because I'm the one with all the video game stuff.
Hell yeah,
of course.
Yeah, I mean they go straight past their grandmother and grandfather and straight to me. Like, hey, Uncle Scott, what games are you playing? But it's just that thing. You just got to be responsible. Got to make sure that you steer them into the right games. And I'm glad one of them they really want to play into Pokemon. But the other day they actually came and said, I know about the Nintendo 2.
Ooh,
they got the deets.
Well, but he's got a Switch. Mm-hmm. So it comes up because of the ad on the actual Switch itself, so he knows about it. But he actually came to me and said, I actually want to play Kirby. And I said, oh yeah, cool. Yes. The latest Kirby one, because he knows that's going to be they're going to do a season update.
Right.
Yeah.
As he said. So actually, the previous time I played with him a couple of years ago, he was still too young. I handed him a Joy-Con. He had the Joy-Con upside down. It wasn't really understanding, how to control it. With here, but now he's getting a hang of it now. So yeah, hopefully I steer him in the right direction, and we'll be playing many multiplayer games.
Hell yeah.
The
cool uncle.
The main
gang.
goal
cool uncle
with
gang.
The main goal with video games is I just in whatever authority I have as an uncle, because obviously the parents have the priority here. But I'm going to do my absolute darndest that he doesn't get into Roblox. Because Roblox is evil. The company is awful. And yeah. Don't want
Roblox, Fortnite.
Yeah. This is the official stance of this podcast. F Roblox.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and speaking of that, let's get to just before we go get into what we've been playing, I'll just remind everyone that we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Gamepodular. You can give us a couple of dollar dues, help us with running this operation.
Yeah, for less than the price of a plastic kazoo every month, you get to hear three weirdos talk about video games.
If you pay high enough, we'll each get kazoos.
We could do the worst version of Also sprach Zarathustra. Just.
Also, check out the YouTube channel. We're on YouTube as well. If you're listening on YouTube, hey, what's up? Thanks for hanging out. Hit the like, comment, and subscribe buttons and do all of that things that I will eventually get used to saying.
You could come in with the save.
Yeah. Also visit on the Gamepodular YouTube channel. Nice. All right, let's get into what we've been playing. So, as viewers will know, I've been into the Kingdom Hearts series. I finally ended up doing Kingdom Hearts 3 with its DLC. Seska, you actually made a comment before, saying, "What about Melody of Memories?"
Mm-hmm.
I haven't actually played, but it was. I swear, the day after I did the recording on the podcast, it came on special.
Yeah,
of course.
So I will be playing that. But I thought, you know what? I'll leave that for a little while. That's
like
that'll be a little while. But no. What I decided to do is from that system, because I got it on Switch. I thought what I'll do, I'll get that game that I pre-ordered before on Switch. Something just little light, something easy to do. Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Now, you said easy to do, and I am given to understand that this is an extremely long game.
I will get into that.
Okay.
He just finished the Kingdom Hearts series. Everything is shorter after that.
Yeah.
You could start reading J.R.R. Tolkien's The Silmarillion and it would fly by compared to Kingdom Hearts.
That is sort of a problem that I've run into recently, is like, a couple episodes ago on Unfocused, I talked about Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth, a game I genuinely spent about 120 hours playing over the course of many months. And I was like, okay, what am I going to play next? And then all the ideas I had were also just obscenely long video games. Like, ooh, Assassin's Creed Shadows is coming out soon. I could give that a go. I could play Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Hacker's Memory. I could fire up a new save on Pokemon Shield. Like,
welcome to my hell.
It's been tough.
It has. But yes, this is Xenoblade Chronicles S. Xenoblade Chronicles X. This was originally released on the Wii U. Just trying to see when this was actually released on the. Oh, in 2015. So, well into the end of the Wii U's lifespan.
Yeah.
Yep. A swan song.
Effectively.
Yeah.
I'm kind of shocked that it took this long to come to Switch, considering like how late it came out on the Wii U.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this was one of the last holdouts. Sort of, you had all these Wii U games hadn't been ported over the Switch. I mean, they ended up getting two Xenoblade 2 and Xenoblade 3 before this one came out. But it's out now. It's the definitive edition.
Until
I
the
put
next
some
one.
time into this. Yeah, well, I've put in the next one up front. I've actually only in the Xenoblade series. I only have played Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. Um,
Mhm.
Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, so a remake of the Wii version, which was what the 3D one was as well, and this. So I haven't actually played 2 or 3.
I love how there's two distinct eras in gaming where you say the word 3D at the end of your game and people just have to know what you're talking about. And it's like, okay, is this a 3DS game or was this like a contemporary of Duke Nukem?
It's pretty funny that like that Xenoblade Chronicles was like one of like 4 games that were exclusive to the new 3DS specifically because it had the like extra nubbin and was slightly more powerful.
Gotta get that nubbin.
The power. I think it was so much more the power. The power.
Yeah.
Surprisingly,
like,
actually, I think actually
Hyrule Warriors as well was also a new 3DS exclusive.
I think that did ran on the original 3DS, but it didn't only did it in 2D and it had frame rate issues.
Yeah.
Whereas more stable on the new 3DS. I believe Fire Emblem Warriors was exclusive to new 3DS.
That's probably
that adds up. Yeah.
Yes, Xenoblade Chronicles X. So they've re-released this as the definitive edition. Do not know where this takes place into the actual overarching story arc. I believe it's sort of its own. I don't know if it's actually its own universe. I don't know if it's in the same universe, but it's sort of like its own sort of side story. Effectively the alien race has blown up Earth,
like you do,
and then you get except for a ship called the White Whale that crash lands into a planet called Mira.
Mm-hmm.
Effectively, then once they crash land into there, they actually set up a new colony called New LA.
Like Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Oh, why pick Los Angeles? That place sucks.
Because that way you can do 2 Kurt Russell movies at once. Escape from New LA.
Yeah. I mean, they could do something like they could do New York, but then it had to be New York, and then that's just into a whole Futurama thing. They've taken that.
Yeah,
so.
Matt Groening gonna sue somebody.
No, but you wake up, you effectively get you're in this cryo pod. You get waken up by character Elma. And the way the Xenoblade sort of gameplay works, it's sort of like an MMORPG where you see a character and then you get into a battle and then you're doing auto attacks. In this case, with this game, you actually have 2 weapons. You have a sort of a melee weapon and then a ranged weapon. So I think the first weapons you get is a knife. So 2 knives and a assault rifle. And so you go make sure you switch up, which you want at the time. If it's far away, range, all that. You also do get what's called arts. So these are sort of your abilities. So like Xenoblade, you get ones like, say you've got your melee weapon. You'll get a weapon that does a specific type of damage, and then it's also got another attribute. That if you meet a certain condition, it may do an increased damage. So it may be like a back if you attack the enemy from the back or attack him from the side. So you actually got to, even though the character's auto attack, you can maneuver your character, and that'll sort of lock onto an enemy.
Okay.
So you can move around and then do a backslash, and then you've got certain abilities that increase your health. just like regenerate your health. The thing about the Xenoblade games is that once you actually, if you take down an enemy, then your health just goes not gradually, but sort of like in a couple seconds goes back up. So it's not like a traditional RPG where you have to actually go ahead and scrounge for if you get taken down a bit, you have to go like use health potions and that. Once you defeat an enemy, you go and so you get your health back up, you're right at it, and then you just go to the next enemy.
Yeah,
Are
each
there
combat
still-
encounter is sort of a distinct, bespoke experience.
Are there still health
Exactly.
potions and stuff for use during combat, or are you like locked into just your stats and abilities?
Okay, so you do have certain abilities to go, right, if I activate this ability, my health will regenerate over time. So you do have opportunity to basically replenish your health when you're going down, but you don't actually get like a health ability. You don't actually, there's no consumable. Actually, no, apologies. I do tell a lie. You do get ones that are massive. Like you get ones that like replenish all your characters at that one time. I've never had to use them myself, sorry. So that's why I sort of got thrown off.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's
but you
the
get
break
one.
in case of emergency break glass kind of thing.
That's it. That sort of thing. It's not a case where you go like you just get all these health potions. Actually, the thing there's like heaps of items down, but they're sort of like rabbit skin or certain fruit. These are sort of things you can use to create certain armor, certain weapons. Doesn't tell you what they just there's just a whole bunch of things in it. The game's funny. It tells you whenever you defeat an enemy, you'll get some things like skin and guts and that and whatnot. It'll tell you once you've got an item, if you've got something in your inventory and says you've got 99 of it, every item after that, it just automatically sold as cash.
Okay. Fun.
Yeah.
Useful.
Yeah. It's sort of something you sort of don't really have to worry, sort of not really focus on.
So what are those
I've,
items for then? The like rabbit skins and the guts and stuff. Do you make weapons?
Oh,
with
that-
them? Like
Yeah, you sort of make the weapons, armor abilities. I'd imagine that sort of thing. You also there'll be certain missions that you can do where it's like fetch quest missions. So I want you to get 10 rabbit skins or something like that.
the classic MMO, like early game
and
stuff.
It's really funny. So you've got certain type of missions when you actually are playing this game, where you've got basic missions, affinity missions, and then your main chapter missions. Your basic missions, they're the ones that are like you gather quests, hunt down this enemy, and it's so funny. I've up front, I've played this game for I've just checked there 75 hours. At
Good
the
lord.
moment. And
Damn.
I am not. How many chapters are there? Okay. So apparently there are 15. Okay, so there are 12 chapters into this. I have just done chapter 8.
Wow.
That's a JRPG for you.
Yeah. Well, this is sort of the thing. It says you can actually. This is the sort of thing. You've got your basic missions, which is sort of like your fetch quests, and it's funny. Like there's this like command post where you get all these missions. And all right, I'll get all these missions here, so I can have it placed on the map. I go right. I can tackle them here, here, and here because on the map you'll go. All right, here's a section. That's where you got to go. Once you do that, when you say you got to defeat an enemy, once you do that, that completes the mission. You don't have to take it back to complete the mission.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it's so funny. It's like you can only hold about 20 of these missions at a time. So I get all these missions. I'll go, here's 20. Normally it doesn't go near that one if you're doing it because the missions will increase per chapter. So I get basically like 17 missions. Okay, I've tagged all these 7 missions. Okay, I'm going to go back at a command post. Oh, you've done this mission. You've collected all these things because I've been playing the game about collecting these items because they're just scattered around the place.
Yeah.
I've done this mission. Oh, I've done another mission. I've done this mission. And then by the 10th one, it's like, okay, I've just done 10 missions without actually having to do anything.
Are these missions
So
repeatable?
No.
Okay.
But they're very basic. Like, you won't get much experience. You will get some credits for it, but not much. It's sort of that ticket thing. Is I've got to complete all these missions. I got to check off my checklist.
Yeah.
Gets into that into your brain.
Nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm an Assassin's Creed fan, so I can't like say anything bad about that kind of mission.
Yeah, you don't get to throw stones when you live in a glass castle that big.
Yeah.
But this so you also got affinity missions, which is sort of these are ones you sort of more involved with, because you get you've got a certain amount of characters when you start with. I believe you've got you start off with Elma and Lynn and Tatsu the Nopon. Nopon being this like short, furry, sort of like bulbous character.
Yeah.
This is sort of a stay over for the Xenoblade series. But then you get a whole bunch of these other characters that you sort of recruit over time. There's with this game, compared to the first Xenoblade game, this is not so much. It's got a story, but it's more so you're sort of trying to complete missions. Whereas sort of like the original Xenoblade was sort of like you did missions, but it's sort of a continuing story with these sort of set 6 characters. And so Xenoblade X sort of does this by having these affinity missions. One of your characters is like, oh, I've really got to do something. I've got to avenge my family or something. So you go ahead and do that, and sort of you build up your affinity with those characters. And when you build up, that's sort of like basically you try and become best friends.
Yeah. Social link persona style thing.
That's it. It had a more complex one actually in the first Xenoblade game, whereas this one's just gotta max out that 5 hearts.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And that'll allow you to not only accept more missions from certain characters, but actually you'll get certain arts that'll be unlocked.
Okay.
You've also got a class system where it allows you to equip certain type of weapons. So you can build those up as well. I've just been playing this game. I've played 75 hours into it. From the looks of it, I've completed 2/3 of it. But yeah, I'm at that stage now. I am because the last chapter I did was chapter 7, which has had the recommended level of minimum level of level 30. I am level 55.
Wow.
So it was just you had this big character, huge character, who all threatening, and all of a sudden I'm just like, okay, here you go, bam, bam, bam. Oh, they're down.
That's also JRPGs.
Mm-hmm. Alone for a while.
Now, also with these, as a speaking big characters, you actually get what's called skells. These are the mechs that you probably see around.
Yeah, they were on the cover art.
Exactly. I've only just recently got them, so I haven't had too much into it. But effectively, you can actually go into a skell and use that sort of instead of fighting as your character. Whereas when you character, if you die as your character, the only thing you'll lose is sort of the tension points, or sort of like a mana system where you can sort of like build up, and that allow you to do certain abilities and go into overdrive. But you just naturally gain that, attacking enemies.
Yeah.
But that's it. The only thing when you die, you only lose that. You don't lose like any items or that. So yeah, with these skells, however, once your skell gets destroyed, there's a couple of things you can do, because skells that can actually be destroyed, and to repair them, it actually costs money. So it sort of encourages you. You got to be careful with these. The skells, when you buy a skell, it's got 3 insurance policies. So effectively, if it gets destroyed, you can use that to repair it for free. These are not you can't just buy insurance policies. That once they're all used up, they're all used up. But you've actually with this you've actually got certain situations where it'll come up. Oh, you got a circle slowly closing down the middle, and you got to press the B button at a certain time. Oh, sorry, the Y button at a certain time. This will effectively give you if you do it perfect it's a standard. It'll increase, give you a bit more health. Give you a bit more tension points. So sort of you sort of still got to be on your toes. But with if your skill gets destroyed, it does that. But if you it'll do it when you try and get out. If you get out, if you fail it, you won't actually. You'll be your health will be at low. If you do it as a good, I think you jump out and your health is still at full health before your character, but the skull has got to go back and be repaired. If you do it as perfect, the skull will be destroyed, but when you go back, it doesn't cost anything to repair it. So it sort of encourages you. Yeah, it's sort of you sort of be careful, but you sort of that risk reward situation. It's okay, I'm going to really get into character. If I get destroyed, I've got to make sure I hit the perfect. That way, then when I do go back, I get repaired for free. Because the scales themselves, I think that, yeah.
So what's the advantage of using a scale? Are they just really powerful? Because there's got to be some sort of advantage to all these drawbacks, right?
Well, yeah, you do have you do have huge enemies. Scales themselves, you can only use certain scales at certain levels. So the scales themselves don't level up. You have to actually be a certain level. I haven't had a situation where I've actually needed a scale. I've just only sort of recently got them. The big advantage at the moment now for me is that it's just easier to get around. They can actually pilot way faster because this map is huge.
Yeah.
But it's just easier to get around. And I think at a certain time you actually get a flight ability with them. So that's the advantage there. But I think you sort of all your party can sort of equip their own skills. So I've got to get a bit more into that to see actually if you there'll be certain enemies where you need the power of a skill to sort of defeat them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But no, so that's what I've been playing at the moment. I sort of figured it's good to play this because I was sort of debating whether to play this or wait until the Switch 2 comes out because there's code apparently in the game that puts it as a 60 frames per second mode, and people seem to think that's when the Switch 2 it'll unlock then. But I just decided to get into it. So I thought it's somewhat fitting. Sort of the last sort of game from the Wii U, and it's sort of going to be the last game I play on the Switch before I go onto Switch 2.
Nice, yeah.
And let's see if I can actually beat the game before the Switch 2 comes out.
Time trial.
We're going into gaming crunch mode now, baby.
But yeah, it's look, I'm enjoying it. I did have it for the Wii U, but it was just so clunky just with because it tried to be innovative and you had the screen but also had the touch screen, like the Wii U gamepad screen as well. And so I had certain things on there and then on the screen, but if it's not a 3DS, like a DS one where the screens are close together, I found that the menus a bit too small. I just didn't really get into it. But all it took was just to get on the Switch, and I'm going to be continuing on with it. Let's put it that way. So yeah, I would. Yeah.
Are you also planning on playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and 3?
Now, here's the thing. I am going to finish this one first. I'm going to wait to see. I definitely want to play Xenoblade 3. The only issue is that I know Xenoblade 2, apparently it looks a bit rough when it's played handheld on the original Switch. I'm going to see, hopefully, if it fixes it up on day one on Switch 2, or they're going to release a patch later.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't there like a standalone expansion for the first one? Like...
Okay, so the first for the Xenoblade, in the Definitive Edition, there was...
I just looked it up. It's Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Torna the Golden Country.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
DLC, yeah, because I know Xenoblade 1, the Definitive Edition had additional story once you finish the main game. So you just had a couple new characters in that. I think Xenoblade X has that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I will I'll probably get into that.
Yeah. I just remember reading about Torna because it is DLC, but it also actually got like a physical cartridge release because like it was a really big thing that they had in mind pretty much from the word go, and then they sort of like drew up their budget and their timetable, and they were like, this chunk of the story will add like 40 hours of content, which is like months of work and like millions of dollars for us. We can do it later. And this way, if the game flops for whatever reason, we don't immediately bankrupt the entire studio.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough.
Well, I mean, they've released Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and this one, so yeah, I don't think they're going bankrupt at the moment.
No, they're doing well.
Unlike the other Monolith.
Right, yes. RIP Monolith. This is Monolith Soft, but RIP Monolith.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what my current playthrough is of Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo.
HD remix.
No, I would definitely recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so going from Xenoblade Chronicles X to something a bit on the other side. Seskra, you've been playing some, if I'm pronouncing it, Hedon Bloodrite? If I pronounced that right?
Okay, so if you look up the pronunciation guide, it'll be Hedon, as in hedonistic.
Yep.
Everybody on the internet calls it head-on because of that old commercial for head-on applied directly to the forehead. To the point where the devs have just given up and like given way to the meme. Like I mentioned last episode for Daikatana, it had like special "Are you sure you want to quit?" messages. One of the ones in head-on, which is what I'm going to be calling it, is you cannot head on if you head off.
Oh, God.
I appreciate that kind of self-awareness.
Yeah. And yeah, I've been playing head on. For those not familiar, it's a boom shoot. Well, boom shoot. Actually, boom shoot is kind of the right word for it, even if it is a weird, ambitious, very narrative focused sort of version of it. But yeah, it's old school boomer shooter built using GZ Doom, and you play as Zan the Bonebreaker, a half orc, half demon, absolute brick house murder woman. Because this game knows what it's about, and knows what it wants, and knows what the people want, and it is not afraid to give it to them. It's like 99% safe for work, so don't worry about that. Like, and you have to go looking for the 1% that isn't. But this game has a type, and if you also have that same type, then more power to you. But yeah, you play as this half demon, half orc fighter who like lives with a tribe of orcs out in the Badlands, and you're just sort of out on assignment, and you find out something has gone wrong. Something has gone horribly wrong. Because demons come from hell and seemingly just overwhelm the orc tribe. This is all just the initial setup, so this isn't spoilers. It's literally like the first thing you sort of experience in the game. And you have to try and figure out what happened. Can you stop it? Who's responsible for this? You kind of have to rebuild some trust, because this happened while you were conveniently away, and you are half demon, so some of the orcs are a little distrustful. And that's one of the ways in which this immediately strikes me as very different from a lot of other boom shoots. There's a lot of NPCs in this game. There's a lot of dialogue in this game. There's a lot of, lore and story in this game. And a lot of it's really cool, and I like it a lot. I feel like pacing-wise, it isn't always integrated super smoothly, because you'll clear out a room full of bad guys with your minigun and be like, yes, all right, on to the next thing. Oh, there's a note here. I should read that in case that gives a hint to one of the puzzles I'm juggling. And then you read the note, and it's like, there is a hint in there, but it's part of 4 paragraphs of very well-written, journal-style backstory of, somebody who was there the day that, stuff went down and it got real, and it's good world building that's got flair and character, but also I was shooting demons 2 seconds ago. You're making me shift gears really hard here. Actually reading that. This isn't Fallout New Vegas, people. Come on.
It's like chess boxing.
It kind of has chess boxing vibes. Yeah. Shout out to any Transmetropolitan fans out there. But yeah, it has a bit of chess boxing syndrome. And neither side is bad, to be clear. The combat is really smooth, really, really satisfying. The lore, like I said, it's good. And this game has a good sense of tone and atmosphere. We'll get to that in a sec. So, both sides are fun. It's just, sometimes switching back and forth is a little jarring. And also, it's a bit mean, because it'll be you think you've cleared out a room, and you start reading the note, and then you remember the game doesn't pause when you read the notes. So, the one survivor that you missed comes up from behind you, and you just get set on fire by your Cerberus because you were too busy reading the lore. So, I'm not saying, they should have just implemented, Doom 2016 or Doom Eternal style codex, because, that would work for the lore and solve the problem I just described with the Cerberus coming up from behind, but it meant that, every time you wanted to hint to one of the puzzles, you would have to actually pause the game and go into a menu, and, I reluctantly concede that the version we have is probably the best way of avoiding that problem. You don't want to bog down your pacing for the puzzle stuff, because not every note is super lore heavy. But yeah, game has got a really, really good old school pixel art style. It's very expressive. It's very detailed. I love the world in this game, and I really need to get that right up front. This is a game that the reason there is so much world building is because the world is worth building up. It feels fleshed out and lived in. The orcs feel like a real culture. The dwarves and the minotaurs that are allies to you, those feel like a real culture. The demons feel concrete. The lore you find is really good. And also this game is huge. Hedon originally came out as 2 separate games. Nowadays, it's all just one bundle that includes everything, but originally it was 2 different games. There was Hedon Crystal Heart, and Hedon Bloodrite came after, and Bloodrite is sort of the name used for the whole package nowadays. Crystal Heart was really good, but it sort of felt a bit more Half-Life-y in that it was an ongoing series of levels that had really cool set pieces, but there wasn't a whole lot. I don't even think you could go back to previous levels once you had finished them. Bloodrite changes that. It starts out that same way, and that in the first act, and the first act culminates in one of the most jaw-dropping levels I've ever seen, where you have to fight your way across a flotilla of gunships sailing across an ocean of lava, because this dev is insane, and I love them for it.
That's sick. That's very cool.
And then Act 2 starts. Act 2 of Hedon Bloodrite is just one of my favorite places to be in all of video games, because we are open world now. We are open world, interconnected, and the map is the size of Pangea. I swear to God, it's one of the biggest game maps I've ever freaking seen in a first-person shooter. And then you reach the end of the map, and you go through a door, and you're like, okay. this will take me back, right? This is a loop back to, this is a teleport back to a previous. No, it just loads up map 2, which is like one loading screen, and it's still just interconnected. It's so big. And what I love is that it actually uses the space. It's not just, well, you still have to do everything in one order. No, whenever I play this game, I feel very strongly reminded of like the first 2 Resident Evil games. Because going through the Spencer Mansion or the Raccoon City Police Station, there's multiple valid, correct routes through those. Like, you don't have to do things in one particular order. There's a bunch of different orders that work. And some of them are more risky than others, more high risk, high reward, but they're all valid. Hedon Bloodrite uses that same approach, except instead of a Raccoon City police station, it's Raccoon City and the surrounding countryside, and maybe just the entire state that Raccoon City is in. I think canonically that's Illinois. Don't quote me on it. It's enormous. It's absolutely enormous, and everywhere is worth exploring and valid to explore. And there's a billion secrets that I couldn't all keep track of if I wanted to, and there's side quests. And usually the side quests have multiple valid solutions if you go looking through the lore documents. And you might have noticed everything I'm describing doesn't really sound like a boomer shooter anymore, but it is.
No.
Like it's just all these things at the same time, because F it, why not? Like, we can have dialogue and cutscenes and like not branching dialogue, but depending on the items that you bring to certain characters, depending on the solutions you have concocted for various quests, like, the outcomes of everything can change quite a bit. This dev just has such a very specific vision. And when I say this dev, I mean very specifically Zan Hedon Dev. That's the handle they go by. I don't know their full legal name. Not that that's any of my business. But yeah, this game has one full-time dev and a handful of part-time supporting developers, but it's mostly just one dev working within GZ Doom and pulling in supplemental stuff that other people have released under Creative Commons, like the Brutal Doom friendly AI. Among the collaborators, this is one of my favorite things about the whole game. I remember playing through this game and really vibing with the music. And I was thinking to myself, man, this sounds like this has got a Jazz Jackrabbit kind of beat going. Whoever is doing the music is doing a really flattering Alexander Brandon impression. And then I get to the credits of Crystal Heart, and Alexander Brandon is one of the credited composers.
There it is.
Yeah, this game has got 5 different credited composers, including Zan Hedon Dev. They did music for their own game, which is awesome. But by far and away, all my favorite tracks are by Alexander Brandon. They've been licensed. They've been great. They're just... If the name doesn't ring a bell, he did music for Jazz Jackrabbit, but also Unreal Tournament, Deus Ex. If you enjoy just turn of the millennium techno, boy, is this game for you. This game is so for you, and it fits the atmosphere weirdly well. It's all just bangers. The combat is also just really good, really solid, really fun. Every weapon feels distinct and useful, and it is certain enemies gently suggest a preferred weapon, but the golden rule of shoot at it until it dies is always valid. It never doesn't work. And
if I might ask, a lot of these both of the time and revival boomer shooter kind of games have weird and interesting weapons. What's the coolest, weird, interesting weapon in the game?
Good question. That's very much a Duke Nukem 3D and its ilk kind of thing. Things like Doom and such didn't have that as much. I'm trying to think of what would be the most obvious one for that. Excuse me. So it's not weird, but to give you sort of an example of the thought that's been put into it and the versatility of it, there's a gauntlet that you will get where your primary fire is rapid fire sort of energy balls that are projectiles, not hit scan. And
Yeah,
that's
like
just
the
a decent
plasma rifle in Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's your primary fire. Then your secondary fire launches mines that are a godsend in a bottleneck kind of situation. And also, sometimes you're on low health and you just want to toss mines in a parabolic arc, get your Junkrat game on and just throw things through a hole until you stop hearing any noises. And then you throw some more in there for good measure. And then when you run out of ammo, it's still a valid weapon, because if you hit the fire button when you're out of ammo for the gauntlet, it is essentially a chainsaw where killing enemies replenishes ammo for the ranged versions.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm. It's a very lightning gauntlet-y, which feels sort of like, I can't remember if it's Hexen or Heretic, but one of those definitely had like lightning gauntlets that felt very, we wanted a chainsaw, but we're medieval, so we can't have a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah. This game does have like fantasy tropes and styling. One of your first weapons you get is a big old battle axe. But it's not afraid to go like industrial when it needs to. Like one of the later weapons is just straight up a minigun. And it's such a good minigun, let me tell you. But yeah, the combat is really good, really satisfying. One thing they also picked up from Hexen and Heretic is actually a full inventory of items you can use at a moment's notice. If there is one thing that I kind of wish had been in this game, it would be a radial menu for your inventory items that slows or pauses the game while you're using it, kind of like in the remasters for Quake and Quake 2 that Night Dive did. Like, that would be nice, because what we have instead is just a really big inventory that you can cycle through with, keys for left and right, and you can set up hotkeys for each individual item, which is great, and that works, but I can't remember every single hotkey. Ooh, and speaking of, I'm just going to tell everybody listening this now, if anything I've said so far sounds interesting and you pick up this game, hear me now. If you are in your inventory, you can press enter to get a description of what each item actually does. You're welcome. That way you don't have to spend an item to try and find out what it does. You'll actually just get like, Potion of Might. This increases your damage and attack speed, but only for melee weapons, not for your ranged weapons. That's very useful to know. You wouldn't figure that out just using it unless you used it a lot, and there aren't a lot of them. So yeah, use enter in your inventory to find out what it does. Similar note, any game in the Doom engine, if you are on the map, you can press M to mark your current location for future reference. This is going to save you so much time in Hedon Bloodrite. Because you'll have things like, there's a side quest where you need to find a whole bunch of rock salt to make a rock salt statue out of yourself. And you'll start finding chunks of rock salt to mine long before you get that quest or a pickaxe to mine them with. So, mark those on the map when you see them. Save yourself some time. You're welcome. But yeah, it's stylish. It's intense. I've been playing it on Hedonistic, which is the medium skill. It's like skill 4 out of 7, I think. More like 4 out of 6, because like the 7th skill, I say skill, difficulty level. Sorry, I went very boomer there for a sec. But yeah, the final difficulty level, Berserk, is more of an entirely distinct play mode, because it completely changes the weapon load. It has its own unique weapon loadout, because it's like melee only. It's very brutal, very unforgiving. Hedonistic is more like sort of the default game mode, but the game has multiple difficulties below that, and I should have double checked this, but I believe you can switch difficulty like just mid-game. But yeah, it's just been a wonderful time. I love the carefully constructed set pieces that they have in Crystal Heart. They're really cool, really fun. And that still holds true for the first act of Bloodrite as well. But Bloodrite Act 2 which, by the way, one of my favorite openings, one of my favorite sort of like, scene transitions in any game ever, because, you wake up from a big, sort of climactic explosion at the end of the first act, and you get going, and you realize that, you're going through the old orc homes that you've seen in the previous parts of the game, and they are wrong. They are sickly. They are withering. And just text appearing on screen, Act 2, the underworld is dying. And like, yeah, this game is a boom shoot about a, brick house orc girl, but it knows how to get scenic and atmospheric when it wants to. It actually has a good grasp of like evocative wordplay and imagery. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's a perfectly crystallized, like laser-focused vision that delivers on one thing and exactly one thing and does it perfectly. No, it's a grab bag. It's a whole bunch of ideas thrown into a blender. But the smoothie is so good. Like, it actually just works. 99% of it really works. And the times when I feel it doesn't work 100%, it's not even like a roadblock or a problem. Like, what's a good example? Right. Without giving specific spoilers, there's a bit where there's kind of a transition from shooting to reading. But in this case, it's actually like actionable reading because you're asked to do a riddle. Like, you're presented with a bunch of clues. You need to do things that correspond to the correct answer to the riddle. And it is genuinely like a good brain teaser. You have to think it through. You have to sort of put things together, not just on like a mathematical, logical, if this, then that kind of level, but also you just sort of need to make logical leaps in addition to that. And I think it's good. I think it works. If you get that wrong, the game doesn't say you can't progress now. The game instead just says, well, you're going to take some damage off of that. And you might think, well, okay, what if I'm low health? Doesn't that mean I'm still stopped from progress? No. If you go looking in that area, you can find a secret area that has, some healing items and some protective stuff so that you can actually tank the hit that the game will throw at you if you get it wrong. Like, it's not going to stop you and roadblock you. It's going to ask you to engage with the world and, do this fun little diversion from all of the shooting. And it will reward you if you get it right. It'll punish you if you get it wrong, but it's not... At no point does the game stop you from trying to beat it. The game wants you to beat it. It just wants you to feel engaged while you're doing it. Mm-hmm.
There's got to be stakes. There's got to be... stakes is the best word for it, I think, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm. Stakes and also beef, but enough about the characters. And I love how a lot of the side quests feel very meaningful in how they contribute to that, because like the side quests in Act 1 of Bloodrite and the side quests in Crystal Heart, they'll be things like, oh, the blacksmith asks you to find, black iron ore, and if you find enough, you get some rewards out of it. When I say you get some rewards out of it, I mean that in the big climactic Half-Life 2 style, you are now leading a platoon of orc girls on a daring raid mission into a demon complex. You have more orc girls joining the fight because they've now been equipped with the gear that the blacksmith could make because you helped the blacksmith.
Nice.
It's very consistent and verisimilitudinous and internal, and it's all good. Like, I really like
things you do actually matter.
They genuinely feel that way, yes. And that's a really cool feeling, honestly. And there is stuff that's like genuinely optional, genuinely just for you, but even when it is not in the narrative way matters, the reward is still really nice. My favorite one is once you get to Act 2 of Bloodrite, there's a big side quest you can go on to find a key that only opens one single door in the entire game. And no character ever asks you to go through that door. No character will ever acknowledge you went through that door. But behind that door are boots that you can equip. And then once you've equipped them, you can use every other item still, and it's fine. They'll stay equipped. And those are just a permanent 25% boost to your movement speed, which feels really nice in a boom shoot, especially one with a map this frigging big, let me tell you. Like, so it's all very substantive and rewarding. And as I alluded to earlier with the you cannot head on if you head off, it's occasionally silly. It occasionally knows to like put a pin in the tension for a little bit. And that's fun. It's a relief. Like, there's this one character, the Shady Fixer, who gets introduced, and she's just like this chaos gremlin that you run into from time to time. You're trying to help save the world. She's theoretically trying to do the same, but she's also trying to turn a profit, because, you know, gotta hustle to make bank, you know? Holla holla pat me Amadala. And she's also genuinely helpful while being very funny. Like, when people who saw my Blue Sky like 2 weeks ago will have to endure me repeating a joke here, but Act 2 of Hedon Bloodrite, it's like if Raccoon City was the size of a continent, but instead of Mr. X chasing you around the entire time, it's this short-stack chaos gremlin who's just trying to sell you a black market bag of holding if you get enough gold. Like, it's just like, come on, you know I'm good for it. And it's just funny, and it's rewarding, and it's engaging. It's a triumph. It really is. Like, I wouldn't call myself a boom shoot aficionado. I wouldn't say I'm an expert in them, but I've played my fair share of shooters over the years, and I've never played anything that feels so distinct as Bloodrite, except for, like, maybe Cruelty Squad. Cruelty Squad is in a similar ballpark of, like, no, this is one weirdo who spent, like, 4,000 hours crafting a very specific vision for themselves, and also we get to play it if we feel like it. And I do. I feel like playing this game a lot. I try not to, because if I do, every time I start playing it, it's going to be a commitment of, like, 30 hours, because the game is so big. But I'm never mad to play those 30 hours. It's always just so good. The music is banger, the art looks great, combat is smooth, the world is engaging. Also, there is a sexy succubus, and depending on how things go, she might get down with Zan, she might not. I'm not going to tell you how to do that. Look up your own GameFAQs walkthrough, you pervs. So yeah,
R.I.P. GameFAQs. They're still around, but like
R.I.P.
not
good
as good as they
GameFAQs.
used. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if any of what I've said sounds interesting, it's on Steam, it's on GOG, it's on sale on the regular. I'm pretty sure it's on at least some of the consoles by now. I should have looked into that. I'm sorry, but definitely Steam and GOG at the very least. There is also, I don't own this, so don't ask me for the details of it, but there is a special edition called the Extra Thick Edition. Because this dev does nothing if not commit to the bit. And yeah, I'm so glad that this game exists. Like, there's a world where this was just like a total conversion mod for Doom, and it's like 2 levels, and it's cool, and nobody would remember it a year later. But the fact that it got to be so sprawling, because like this was crowdfunded, and one of my favorite bits in the entire game is right before one of the big boss fights, you can go through a secret wall, and there's just the thank you room for all the people who like donated the highest tier, and they each have custom sprite art for a demon or an orc or something that's meant to be them. It's like the thank you room in Hollow Knight. It's really cool and really sweet. And you just get this sense of like, yeah, we're all weirdos here, but we're weirdos together, and we're here to have a good time. And I really do.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
If you like what I said, check it out yourself. And I mean, we're all going to hell anyway. We might as well shoot some demons along the way.
As one of my favorite songs says, we're definitely going to hell, but we'll have all the best stories to tell.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
I just checked. Yeah, apparently it hasn't been ported to the console.
Ooh, get on that, Zen. Put this on Switch.
Get GC Doom on Switch.
If this was like 15 years ago, I'd say, ooh, Nintendo might not be happy with that. But like,
They put literal Doom Eternal, like, or at least Doom's
Oh.
2016 on Switch now. So, all bets are off.
I'm just like, I don't think I'll ever forget the story of Edmund Macmillan really wanting to bring Binding of Isaac to the 3DS and Nintendo being like, no, it's too adult for our Nintendo consoles. And now we have literal hentai on the Switch eStore.
Yeah, I'm a bit suspicious of that, yeah. Well, now Hilka, not necessarily actual playing a game. You've went into an event.
I did. It is still video game related, which is why I'm bringing it up on this podcast. But
thank goodness.
I went to a concert. I love, people who know me will know I love concerts. I've been to at least 5 so far this year. I have another one in June and a festival in September.
Okay, you have a problem and this is an intervention.
But yeah, it's a concert for an artist named Miracle of Sound. Now, the reason I bring it up on the podcast and why it's video game related is he primarily makes music based on video games. And I say based on very specifically because they're not covers. They are original compositions that use the aesthetics and the themes of the games he plays as inspiration for the songs.
Yeah, inspired by.
Yeah. For those of you who are not super familiar with him, I can give you a brief synopsis of his career, I suppose. I know, Sethgar, you've listened to him in the past, and Scott, are you familiar with Miracle of Sound at all?
I am familiar with them in the sense that I know they were on The Escapist.
Yes.
They were the more famous gaming-themed musician on The Escapist, because I don't think anybody remembers Rebecca Mays.
No, that's a name that, I haven't thought about Rebecca Mays in a while. No disrespect to her, but...
No. But, case in point, people don't remember her.
But yeah, as Scott mentioned, he did sort of, as Miracle of Sound, get his start on The Escapist, because he was in a band. They were called Lotus Lullaby. They broke up. He was bored, started writing songs about video games, and posting them on the Escapist forums. Sort of the big breakthrough for him was a song called Commander Shepard, which is pretty self-explanatory. It's about Mass Effect. And specifically Commander Shepard. You can fight like a Krogan, you can run like a leopard, but you'll never be better than Commander Shepard. And The Escapist liked the song so much that they gave him a contract to do it for money. He did like all of the production himself, so he played all the instruments, he sang all the vocals, he did the mixing, the mastering, etc., which in retrospect is completely wild, because there was a time when he started where he was doing one song a week for The Escapist, which...
That's a pipeline I don't want. I've done a tiny bit of professional composing in my life for money, and the idea of, hey, have an entire finished song within a week, like doing that once, I might be able to do that once, like if I commit my whole week to it and get paid a lot of money. Doing it 20 weeks in a row is no, you cannot make me. You cannot pay me enough money for that.
Also, he had a contract with The Escapist, so he wasn't being paid that much money. Shots fired.
Oof.
But yeah, they eventually slowed that schedule down, and I'm not gonna lie, like, as a super fan, a lot of his early work is pretty forgettable because he was on such a like tight time crunch mostly. But yeah,
occasional banger notwithstanding.
Yeah. And like the new schedule has allowed him to be a lot more creative with which genres he uses, which themes he explores, playing longer games and getting more inspiration from them, that kind of thing. And because he takes inspiration from video games in this way, he's also done a couple like movies and TV shows, and he has some completely originals as well. I'm not going to ignore those. A lot of those are also excellent. He's got some Game of Thrones songs that are really, really good.
Ooh.
But it allows him to explore just so many genres. He does a lot of metal songs because he just really likes metal just as a person.
Nice.
But he's done like country songs for like the Red Dead Redemption games. He's done a jazz song for LA Noire. He's done folk songs. He's done dubstep. He's done pop punk. He's done disco. And that is really exciting because you never really know what you're going to get from him before you start listening.
He's like a box of chocolates.
Has he done ska?
He has not done ska, unfortunately, which is one serious black mark on his resume.
Yeah. At Miracle of Sound. Do ska, you coward.
Pick it up.
Please rectify.
He, since like leaving The Escapist, he's done a lot more. He's done some collaborations as well. Even on The Escapist, he did a Tomb Raider song, The Savage Side of Me, which had vocals by like Lisa Foyles, for instance. But now he does a lot more collaborations. He did a song about the pirate Grace O'Malley, which had straight up bagpipes by Ali the Piper, also a musician YouTuber.
Yeah, I think the most famous collab he's done is he got Maluka, who you might know from The Dragonborn Comes, to do guest vocals on one of his songs.
Yeah, Legends of the Frost. Oh, I love that song so much.
I can see the smile on your face, and it's adorable.
And sort of his big, like, second, like, really big breakthrough came in 2020 with the song Valhalla Calling. It went, like, actually viral. I assume partially because of TikTok and sort of the, like, sea shanty-esque trend that happened sort of, like, right after that song came out. It has, at time of writing, 106 million views on YouTube and 122 million streams on Spotify. That's just the original version. He's made a couple of other like different versions of it as well. He's made like a straight up like metal song version of it that also has millions of views. And it's been covered so many times to the point where it had this like weird game of internet telephone where there were some people who actually don't know that he's the original like creator of the song, which does feel kind of bad.
I'm trying to remember. I remember him like tweeting out a screenshot, and I can't remember if it was like Spotify or iTunes or what, but it's like #1 track this week. Well, he was like #2 track of the week, and then #1 is like Nightwish, and he's just like, what is even happening? What is wrong with you people?
Like, when Valhalla Calling came out and really blew up, he was like the most listened to Irish artist on Spotify, despite never being on the radio or something. Like that. And I'm using he because, as I said, most of this has been completely solo. But for this concert, he actually got a full band. He has a guitarist, a bass guitarist, a drummer, and a keyboard player to tour with him. And that's one of the reasons that I thought it would never really happen, is because he does everything solo. He maybe just couldn't afford to get a full band, and the logistics behind like doing all of that would just be too difficult. But he managed to conquer that by getting a full band, and this was genuinely one of my most anticipated concerts of all time. I've been listening to him since 2011, since he started on The Escapist, and I've been listening to him for 14 years, and previously he only did a couple like live performances at the Escapist Expo. So I
Shout out to survivors of
feared,
the Escapist Expo.
yeah. So I feared that would be it. And no, last year he announced he's going to do a tour. He was going to do a tour of the UK and Ireland and multiple places in Europe, including the Netherlands, where I live. And so I went.
Yeah.
And
The only reason I wasn't there with you is because it was literally my mom's birthday. If it hadn't been, I would have been right there with you.
Also, it was A, sold out, and B, the fastest sellout of the entire tour.
Turns out the Netherlands really likes Miracle of Sound.
Yeah, I'm just gonna I'm done with the facts for a bit. I'm just gonna gush, because this is like genuinely a dream come true for me. Oh my god, there are some songs in his back catalog, including some that were in the set list, which we'll get to a little later, teasing, that were just so beautiful to hear live. I never thought that would happen in my life, and it did. And I'm so happy. Oh, I have 2 complaints, only 2, and they are relatively minor. Mm-hmm. The first is, hey, where was London Town? I would have liked to hear London Town, bud. It was on the UK leg of the tour, but not the European one. What gives?
Well, yeah, he was going to do Amsterdam Town here.
But yeah, it's one of my favorite songs by him, and I really, really would have liked to hear it live, but didn't manage to get that, which is unfortunate. The second complaint is, I don't know if he was just not warmed up, or the mics were configured incorrectly. I assume it's the latter based on how the rest of the concert sounded. That the first 2 songs in the live performance didn't sound all that great, which is unfortunate because the first one was one I really wanted to hear live, and it sounded a little bad. But that got resolved, and the concert just got better and better as the night went on. I will also say, opening act, Colin McGuinness, also an Irish musician, mostly just folk music, which, if you know anything about me, is extremely my jam.
Mm-hmm. Your jam, your jelly, and your marmalade.
He was excellent. He's really funny, and he played some songs that I really like. He played The Rocky Road to Dublin, which is one of my favorite songs. He played an original, also based on actually Warhammer 40,000, called Paid in Full. That one was really good. I bought one of his albums after the show. Big fan. Love him. Good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's get to the set list. And for this part of the episode, I have prepared a little game for my 2 co-hosts here.
Oh, no.
Because...
a game within a gaming podcast?
Yeah, it's...
Mon Dieu!
There's layers to this. Because, as mentioned, he makes music based on video games. And I thought it would be fun to, based purely on the titles of the songs, guess what video game it is based on. You each get 1 guess.
Mm-hmm.
And to narrow it down, all of these are like major AAA releases between 2011 and 2023.
See, that should help, but like my sense of time has just ceased to have any meaning since about 2020. Like people will say, oh yeah, that came out 5 years ago. And I'm like, no, you're lying. It came out 5 days ago. How dare you imply that the world keeps on going? But okay, 2011 to 2023, you said?
Yeah, the latest one is 2023 by my count.
All right, and it's all
I will
AAA.
also say, yeah, it's all AAA. I will also say there were 14 songs on the set list in total. 3 of them were originals. They were not based on video games. I will tell you about them when we come to that in chronological order, because I wrote everything down. I kept notes. But we're going to start with number 1. Take It Back.
So
any guesses?
My first thought was The Walking Dead, but I think I'm getting some wires crossed because I think Take It Back is like the song that plays in the credits of like season 1 of The Walking Dead. take it back. I'm gonna say Borderlands 2.
And Scott?
Oh, take it back. I've got no idea.
Pick a game, any game.
Halo.
You're both incorrect. It is Mass Effect 3.
Right.
Okay.
Before the world turns black, stand up and take it back. Number 2, Show Your Style.
Show your style.
This is one of the harder ones, admittedly.
Scott, we might have made a terrible mistake by agreeing to this.
I gave you an out to get hints, but no, you wanted to embarrass yourselves live on the internet.
What? We never do that.
Is there any other way?
That's what the internet is for, Hielke. Okay, show
Rhythm
your
Heaven?
style. Ooh, Rhythm Heaven is a good one. I'm gonna say Street Fighter 5.
One of you is reasonably close. It is Devil May Cry 5.
Ooh, all right.
Oh, okay.
Number 3.
Was that the DMC sort of rebooty one? No, never mind. We're about the quiz, not the
No,
context.
it's just Devil May Cry 5.
Okay.
Number 3. This one should be reasonably guessable. Wake the White Wolf.
Okay, I
The
can tell
Witcher?
you. Yeah, I'm like, it's definitely the Witcher franchise. I'm just like, there's 3 options.
At least one of them is before 2011.
Yeah. So it's either 2 or 3. I'm gonna say 2.
I'll go with 3.
Scott is correct. It's The Witcher 3. He did also do a Witcher 2 song called Silver and Steel. But yeah, this is Witcher 3.
All right, someone has
note.
a point on the board, so, we're good. We're good.
Fun little note about this song. He gave a shout out prior to this song to CD Projekt Red because this concert was on the 10th anniversary of The Witcher 3.
Ooh.
Number 4.
10 years? Dang.
Yeah. Number 4 is Ode to Fury.
I know that the game I'm about to mention, I know it wasn't an adaptation, but I'm still getting is this Mad Max, the open world Mad Max vibes? So I'm gonna say Mad Max.
I'm going to go Fatal Fury.
It's God of War.
Honestly, that does make a lot of sense. Yeah.
Dad of Boy.
Boy.
And then the next song was an original called Sirona. He was joined on stage by Colin McGuinness, the opening act, who brought his violin because it was necessary for the song. This is a great song. It's about the Celtic deity Sirona of healing springs, I think he said. Mm-hmm. It's great. It's really long, but in a way that I enjoy. And then after that was, I get to try and pronounce actual Irish. Gran Mahel, Queen of Pirates, also with Column. It's previously mentioned, it's about Grace O'Malley, the legit actual Irish pirate.
We stand a good pirate queen around here.
Yes. Then our next one is Hell to Pay.
Ooh. Hell to Pay.
I'm going to say Doom 2016.
That is a strong, my first thought was really Darksiders or Darksiders 2 or something. But I'm gonna say, all right, if you're going Doom 2016, I'll say Doom Eternal.
Scott is correct again. It's Doom 2016.
No.
He did also do a Doom Eternal song. It's called Big Guts and Bigger Guns. But this one was Doom 2016. The next one, this is probably one of the hardest ones. Whatever comes our way.
All right. I don't know. The title suggests, like, whatever comes our way, we'll face it together. So it's, camaraderie or romantic. So just some sort of, like, the bond is what matters. The Last of Us 2. I don't know.
How about you, Scott?
Whatever comes our way. It's something that it's going to be. Whatever comes our way.
This is not a hint that I had prepared, but it is the most recent entry on this list from 2023.
Okay. Yeah.
2023. Okay. I got nothing. Shoot. What did come in 2023?
Elden Ring?
I'll go with Elden Ring.
So we got Last of Us 2 and Elden Ring. Both are incorrect. It's Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Honestly, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
This is, I want to shout out a fun note about this song as well. Gavin, I don't remember if I've actually said Miracle Sound. His name is Gavin Dunn. He left the stage for this performance. He said ahead of time that, like, he wanted to make it clear that because this is like an actual band now, that the Miracle Sound project is not just about him anymore. And so the guitarist and the keyboardist were the ones on lead vocals for this song. He was not appearing on stage.
That's a really kind and, like, good gesture to make. Because, like, if it had just been, like, Miracle of Sound featuring touring acts, like, that would have been fine. It would have still been a good concert. But I like that it's now a group effort.
Yeah.
Next one, this one should be pretty straightforward. It's called Sovngarde Song.
Put me down for Morrowind. I kid. Yeah, this would be Skyrim, eh?
How about you, Scott? What do you think?
Yeah, it's got to be Skyrim.
That would be correct. It is indeed the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
I got a point. Yes.
This was my personal highlight as a live experience, because this is a pretty old song, and he's remade it once since then, and so he played sort of the updated version of it. But oh my god, I used to listen to this song like to pep myself up heading into like high school exams, and now to hear it 14 years later live in a crowd full of fans and sing along to it, like. Mm-hmm. I was basically screaming by this point in the night. Like my voice was literally like damaged because of this concert for the next like 1.5 days.
I'm picturing in my head like people in the crowd doing the thing for the outro, which is nice and gentle, of like they actually do the like shoulder to shoulder, hands around each other kind of thing. Like, did they do that?
No, but I do believe that they got the crowd to do the like wave your hands up in the air from side to side for this song as well.
Yes, good.
Wow. Yeah.
It's a good crowd kind of song, yeah.
Yeah.
The next one, also one of the harder ones. Admittedly, they didn't play this whole song. They played just a snippet of the end attached to Sovngarde Song. This one is called Ascension. Yeah, that could be anything, honestly.
Yeah, that's like... We need a word after the colon for the 5th game in our IP. I don't know, if it's just Ascension, I guess. Oh god, I think the 4th God of War game, or at least the 4th one on consoles, was God of War Ascension. So, yeah. But okay, Ascension, Kid Icarus Uprising.
Ooh, that's a good one. Something to uplifting. Tears of the King. No, Tears of the Kingdom.
Solid guesses. It is Divinity Original Sin 2.
Well, it's not
He
very
has-
original if it's the second one now, is it?
He has, to the best of my recollection, done exactly one Nintendo-based song for Breath of the Wild.
And, given that Nintendo are a wee bit litigious sometimes about, everything, I can sort of understand his hesitation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our next one was another original. It's called Skal, as in like the Nordic cheers.
Yeah.
I loved a bit here where not only did he talk about that, this is a song about everyone coming together and everyone is welcome at the table. Everyone is welcome at the table. We're all going to have a drink together. But he also made a very funny comment about, now, if you primarily know about me from like Instagram and TikTok, you might be thinking, Gav, I thought you were a Viking singer. And tell you what, in the 200 plus songs I've made as Miracle of Sound, 2 of them are Viking songs. And we're about to play one of them. Gotta say, it's his project, so he knows it best. I would argue that there's at least 3, but, splitting hairs.
I love it when musicians get sort of like cheeky about that kind of thing. Like Rick Wakeman played in this concert in this country recently, and according to my dad, there was a fun joke somewhere in there along the lines of, "I guess I'll play some songs by Yes tonight. They never play any of mine, so I don't know why, but sure."
Our next video game song is Beneath the Black Flag.
Assassin's Creed.
Yes,
Black Flag.
Yeah, specifically the 4th one. Yeah.
That's correct. It's Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Colin McGuinness came to stage again to play violin again. I recorded this on my phone. I posted a video in the Gamepodular server, Discord server. There's a little preview of this episode. Come check out the Gamepodular Discord server. Details on the website.
It sounds really good.
Yeah. It's I was so excited to hear this. I love this song. I love Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It was a delight. The next one, Valhalla Calling, his big breakthrough.
So of course it's one I don't know. But okay. I must say God of War Ragnarok.
Okay, Scott.
Probably wrong. One of the Darksiders games? Darksiders 3?
I'm frankly shocked that you both got this wrong. It's Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Hugo, you know me. I don't go on the internet. Weirdos live there.
Okay, now I'm sort of under the rule that there was. I didn't realize there was going to be songs from the same franchise, so that one's on me. But yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I just figured okay, Valhalla, Norse mythology. What's the biggest game with Norse mythology from the past couple of years? Ragnarok, right? Nope.
And that was the last song before like the encore. So some people went home because apparently they still don't know how encores work. I don't know.
Maybe they had
any concert could be somebody's first, I suppose. And then the last
we live
one,
in the age of we live in the age of Marvel movies. You watch the after credits. You watch to the end.
Yeah. And then they return back for the encore for one more song, and it's called All as One.
If I keep saying then I might eventually think of something. All as One.
While you're thinking, I can tell you a little bit more about this. They came back from the encore, and obviously this is based on a video game, but the lyrics are very much about togetherness and, standing all as one and being united. And that was a great way to like a great message to end the concert on.
See, the thing is, the thing I'm thinking of, I can only think of one answer. And I kind of feel bad because I'm like, you're describing really good, gentle, nice vibes. And those are not vibes I actually associate with this game. But all I can think of is like Overwatch.
Hmm?
Ooh. United. I'm going to throw a left ball here. Kingdom Hearts 3.
Ooh. Good picks. He has, in fact, made an Overwatch song. It's called Get the Gang Back Together. This one is Dragon Age Inquisition.
Ah, yeah.
Would never got that one.
Stand side by side. Carry all as one. We can bear this weight. So, our final scores. Scott with 4. Seskra has 2 points. Scott, you are officially the second closest expert on Miracle of Sound on this podcast.
Thank you.
I'll take the bronze medal. Still means I get to be on the podium.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That was fun, I hope.
No, it was. It really was. Honestly, yeah. Like,
And,
if you ever go to another one of his concerts, feel free to run this bit back.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm hoping, like, fingers crossed, right? Because the, like, touring is expensive, and admittedly, you know, he lives in Ireland, so he does still get to be part of the EU, but he did have to go to the UK as well, and just logistics of transporting, like, speakers and amps and musical instruments and a crew across multiple countries is really expensive. So
on the other hand, this did sell out, so, you know, hopefully he is making some money off of it.
Not all of the shows sold out. I think 4 or 5 in total in the European leg. This show did sell out. And they were selling merch. I didn't buy any because none of it was in my size. But like, I really hope they get to do another one. I don't know if I mentioned this. Most of these songs were like metal songs. This was primarily a metal concert, which made it extra funny when Colin McGuinness, the folk artist, was the opening act. But, you know, he made a joke about that. In fact, he's like, are you ready to hear some sci-fi metal and pirate metal and Viking metal? And the whole crowd went, yay! And he was like, well, it's a good thing you sat through a whole acoustic set then.
It's, you know, building up the anticipation, you know?
Yeah. I do genuinely hope that they get to tour more, because this was an absolute delight. I had such a great time. Thank you for letting me share it on the podcast. I know the connection is like tenuous-ish, but it's still video game related. It still counts.
It was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's our podcast. If the audience has a problem with that, that's their problem.
Yeah. If I would recommend getting into Miracle of Sound. He has such an extensive back catalog. Like I said, over 200 songs. He's been going for 14 years. He's made like a whole album of just dedicated metal songs, most of which are originals. He made like an interesting atmospheric album called Vistas, that there are a bunch of songs on there that I really liked. And he plays so many different genres that there's got to be something in his catalog that someone would enjoy. My mom likes a couple of his songs. My mom. Like,
Get you a mom who will listen to Miracle of Sound.
Yeah. Thank you for letting me share this with everyone. Go listen to some Miracle of Sound. Buy tickets to the tour. I guess it's almost over, so I guess that doesn't really help you much. But
especially by the time that this airs,
Yeah, go listen to some Miracle of Sound, buy his music on iTunes and Bandcamp and all that stuff. # not sponsored. I'm just a big fan, and I'd love to see him live again.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, and on that note, that's going to do it for this episode of the Gamepodular Unfocused podcast. I have been your host. Thank you, Hilka. Thank you, Seskra. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having here. It's been great to be me.
Great. And on that note, we will all catch you all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Gamepodular Unfocused podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review on iTunes. It really helps us get noticed. You can also listen and subscribe on other podcast services such as Spotify. Make sure to check out our other show, Unfocused. Be sure to join our Discord server to interact with the lively Gamepodular community. Follow us on Mastodon, Blue Sky, YouTube, and at Gamepodular.com for updates, news, and other content. Links are in the show notes. If you'd like to support our shows, you can buy us a coffee or become a Gamepodular Patreon. The details for both are on our website. This episode was edited by myself, and you can follow me at Blue Sky at Scotty J Man. You can also follow Hilka on Blue Sky at Gear12 Turbo or on Mastodon at Gear12 Turbo at kind.social. You can follow Seskra at Seskra the Spider at bsky.social, albeit at your own risk.